Welcome to the Realizations Podcast. I'm Andrea Gordon, your host, and I'm excited to explore the world of real estate with you. In a world where perceptions often overshadow reality, Realizations seeks to redefine what it means to be a realtor. Join me as we peel back the layers of the industry, uncovering inspiring stories and celebrating the good in real estate. Whether you're a homeowner, a fellow realtor, or simply curious, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Realizations, where perceptions meet reality. Let's dive right in. Welcome, everybody, to the Realizations Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Gordon, and today I'm extremely happy to have Justin Stoddart on our podcast to talk about his company, Pro Insight, what led him into this particular field, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his book, what have you. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming today.
Andrea, such a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Of course. So tell all of my listeners what Pro Insight is and what it does.
Great. Yeah, Pro Insight is a digital platform. Imagine if LinkedIn and BNI were to have a baby in the 21st century. That would be Pro Insight.
Okay. So for my listeners, BNI, what exactly is BNI?
Yeah, it's called Business Networking International, which was like a very local referral network group, right? Where you get together every week in a physical location and you pass each other referrals. So I like to give that analogy because it helps people to realize that, again, we're a digital platform like LinkedIn, but unlike LinkedIn, our intent is we're not a social medium, right? Like LinkedIn's become, which really pursues followers, likes, comments. Mm-hmm. We are solely focused on helping professionals to get referrals from other professionals, both locally as well as from other parts of the country. And in so doing, they optimize their business in such a way that it becomes more of a transferable asset for whatever point in the future that they decide to maybe exit. They've actually built an asset in that time frame.
So it's a way for us, because realtors are entrepreneurs. So we're essentially creating our own businesses. We're hanging our shingle at whatever real estate company we're with. And it's a way for a realtor to monetize their business when they choose to leave the business. So this is just another facet, folks, of all of the really interesting sidebars in our real estate industry. I keep bringing people on here who do all kinds of things that are associated with real estate because I want you to see how many faceted this world that we live in is, the world of real estate. So what separates you from just referral companies like, Leading Real Estate Organization of the World or whatever that thing is called, or different, they're a lot of realtors perceive referral companies or relocation companies as kind of parasitical. Mm-hmm. And what is different about you guys that why should my listeners be interested in you?
Yeah, a couple of things. Number one is that our referrals are generated not just from real estate agent to real estate agent. We've identified 38 professional types. One group being asset-based professionals, attorneys, tax professionals, property managers, real estate agents, lenders, reverse mortgage, etc. About half of our platform is made up of those professionals. The other half are property service professionals, roofers, painters, plumbers, those who are in the homes of consumers, helping them to maintain the assets that a real estate agent, for example, helps them to purchase. And so those professionals, all of whom maintain a database of property owners. In other words, they're talking to property owners every single day. And what oftentimes happens is that the real estate agent feels like they've been invited to a buffet. They bring the food and everybody else brings a fork. In other words, the real estate agent's constantly giving referrals to everybody else. Like we just spoke with an agent just the other day and they said, I give out probably 50 referrals. And this is a higher producer every single month. And then my question was, how often do you get referrals back from those same professionals to whom you're referring? Almost never. I said, why is that? Don't you think that they have clients outside of the ones that you refer? And do you think that if they were to ask a couple more questions, for example, the tax professional could ask the question, instead of just asking the question, did you buy or sell any property in the past year? They could ask, do you anticipate buying or selling any property in the upcoming year? And in
Mm-hmm.
that in that situation, then they could then say, do you have a real estate agent who you would rate as a level 10 service provider who's helping you make that
Mm-hmm.
acquisition, that purchase or that sale? And if they say yes, then the tax professional should say, great, I'd love to meet that. I'd love to meet that agent who you're rating as a 10. So, but if they say, nah, I wouldn't rate them as a 10. Now, would it be helpful if I were to introduce you to someone who I would rate as a 9 or a 10? Yeah, sure. So what we've done is we've identified that consumers prefer to go from one great professional to the next, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, there's a lot of websites out there that allow you to window shop, especially in real estate, right? And I
Yeah.
think while people appreciate the visibility inside homes and having someone there that could open the door, when you really go to choose a professional who's going to help you with the most important potential buying decision of your life, you may not want to choose that person from a website. You may want to have another professional who knows your situation, knows your community, make an introduction to you. So if consumers prefer to work that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The professionals do as well. They would prefer to not be jamming the phones, trying to follow up on online leads, trying to get window shoppers turned into shoppers. They
Right.
prefer to have somebody right at the time that the professionals needed to receive a trusted introduction from another professional. So if that's the way that consumers and professionals prefer to work, then we've identified the problem is that technology, many of the big tech providers today have not been built with that in mind. What they've done, and I won't mention the company that starts with a Z that does this really well, is that they actually step between the
Yeah.
consumer and the professional, and then they charge a 40% tax, let's say, to
Right.
give that client to the professional. And so the professional is forced to, number one, deal with a lot of window shoppers and expend a lot of resources to try and turn those into actual real clients. And because they're now dealing with, again, 40% of revenue, they have to degrade their overall client experience. And then the clients are like, my agent, all they did was put a sign in the yard. Well, that's like, it happened because of the way that you found that particular professional. And so we
Right.
believe that technology should not be designed to get between the professional and charge a tax, right, and their client, but rather to make the professional better, to bring them
Mm-hmm.
closer to their clients and give the client a better experience versus a minimized experience. And so our whole platform is designed to do that, is to really
Mm-hmm.
help consumers have a better overall experience by getting them to great professionals through introductions from professionals who they already know.
And how does it exactly work? Tell me.
Yeah, so we start with a real estate agent in each community. We're looking for somebody who serves anywhere from 2 to 5 families per month, right? Hire producer and does it primarily by referral. Okay. Then we have that real estate agent identify a lender that they work closely with, that they would feel comfortable recommending to their clients. We then give those 2 professionals the ability to gift 8 free memberships to the professionals that they already trust, 4 asset-based professionals and 4 property service professionals. And with that group of 10, what we do is we create an 8-page full color brochure highlighting all 10 of them. We pay for all the expenses and we mail that brochure out to the top 20% relocation markets to that professional to help them quickly and easily create a referral partner network on our platform. So really just a realtor and lender at this point, right, have really put together what we call a wealth advisory team. And then we promote that team to the other markets that are really relevant when it comes to people moving back and forth.
Okay, so you're based out of Oregon, and this is nationwide?
It is, yep.
Okay. And what about somebody like me? I work at Compass, which has 40,000 agents, and it has a huge referral basis already going on in it. And most of the referrals that I have received recently have not come from Compass, actually. They've come from past clients and past client referrals. What do you do about what could you do to make the experience better for somebody like me?
Yeah. So most professionals who are part of a larger brokerage have the ability to send referrals to other real estate agents and vice versa, receive them, right?
Right.
What the challenge sometimes, and I don't know what Compass's portal looks like, but sometimes it's just whoever's most available in there. You don't necessarily see how many clients served. You don't know if they have a team of professionals around them that can serve that client, not just with the purchase or sale, but with all the other components. And so what we believe is that by putting together these wealth advisory teams in each community, it becomes a preferred source to whom you should be referring your business, because you know that they work collaboratively. We've essentially vetted them on your behalf and the professionals that support them. And so that experience is easy. Again, most referral companies, back to your point of being parasitical, we charge a very reasonable annual membership fee, and we don't take any percentage of the referrals passed. That all goes to, to the agents or to the professionals that are either receiving that. So
because these relocation companies, a lot of people don't understand how this all works out there. But for example, when I get a commission, the company gets their take. I'm at a very high split because I've been around for a while and I'm a top producer. There's always a fee for the company itself on top of the split. And then different people get their hands in different ways. Sometimes it's a 30% referral fee from a lead gen source. Sometimes it's a 35% referral fee. Oh, and by the way, I had to promise that I would pay for staging because the other people that got interviewed for the listing also said that they would pay for staging. So there I am also paying for staging. And so you can see that even though when you're looking at it as a consumer, at the end of the day, you've paid, 2.5% or 3% to a realtor. The reality is the realtor by the end of that may well only be getting like 1.5% of that money. So it's not as if it's not like we're on one of those stupid television shows where they drive around in Cadillacs drinking champagne and eating caviar and dissing on their clients. It's really about being consistent and being able to generate as many leads and as many customers as you possibly can, and to take really good care of them. So you do get those referrals that don't have these kinds of things attached to them. Another question that I had, you told me that you came out of a background of home building and then got involved in title. What were you doing at a title company, out of curiosity?
Yeah, great question. So again, I was developing land and building homes for the better part of a decade. In that timeline,
you don't look old enough to have had that much of a work history.
I was 25 at the time. I'm 45 now. So
get out of here.
It's been a minute.
I figured you for like 26. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. I'll tell my wife that. But the thing that I loved about that business was the ability to really have a significant impact in someone's life, right? When you're building their dream home, it was awesome. I also realized that my passion was not building homes. It was really building businesses. And it wasn't developing land. It was really developing people. And so when the market crashed in 2008, I see it was a tremendous opportunity for me to really do some introspection to say, do I love this thing, right? And if I didn't, it was a great opportunity to find something else. And I had a friend who was leading us. He was opening for a Fortune 500 company in the Portland market. He was opening a division of that company in Portland. And he realized that they needed a different value proposition to attract top producers. And it couldn't just be an average title rep value proposition, but having someone who had owned businesses in real estate could come in and help kind of lead sales. So I did that for a number of years, realized that the same way that I grew my high-end home building business, which was not through advertising, it was not even through a personal sphere, because I was young, didn't have people who were referring me $1 million construction projects. It was through strategic alliances with other professionals. And so I began teaching that in the title industry. It got tremendous traction in the real estate industry. Was invited to author a book called The Upstream Model, which you can see kind of blurry over my shoulder there. Anyway, that became a blueprint for working not just by referral, but by professional referral. So I launched a coaching company doing that, and then in that process, I met my now business partner and co-founder, Don Yoakum, who is somebody who we shared a brain on that topic of like strategic alliance is the future for professionals to offer the best value to their clients, because they're not spending so much time and resources to find the client. They're getting them by referral to where they can really pour into the experience and be true consultants and advisors to their clients. So he had started building a digital platform that allowed us to not just serve real estate agents, but all the professionals that serve property owners. And so together we've been building that. So anyway, that's what led me to title, and then out of title after that. So
got it. And so it's almost like, in a weird way, it's sort of like an Angie's List, except specifically for real estate and real estate related services, correct?
Almost. It's not designed for, like, Angie's List is designed for the consumer, right? Where the consumer go to shop. While we do allow consumers access to it, it's really a B2B professional referral platform.
Right. That's what I mean, that it
Yes.
is
Yeah.
very much like that. Okay. And
Yeah.
I was talking to you before we started the podcast about my reason behind this podcast, which
Mhm.
my listeners know is because I got righteously angry at the DOJ and NAR lawsuits and the continuing persecution of my industry, and realized that education is the absolute key to people understanding why it is that real estate's important, both civically in terms of our cities and the amount of revenue that we bring to each city, and also in terms of all the ways in which real estate agents are forced to intersect with different parts of different communities at every given time, the amount of charitable donations that they give, et cetera. Um, we're a huge part of the fabric of every city that we're involved in. And so this podcast is all about that. Now, my question to you is, um, we talked a little bit about how these very large, monolithic organizations that shall go unnamed right now are hell bent on disrupting real estate and making it a, a la carte menu of buttons you can push so that you can buy a house. And where do you fit in the scheme of that? How do you
Yeah.
feel about that? And what is your company doing to protect our industry?
I talk about that in my book, is that it's almost as if they're trying to turn the purchase of a home into the purchase of tennis shoes, right? Like Zappos is where I
Exactly.
go online and I buy it. And with tennis shoes, it works great. If it's not the right fit,
Mhm.
I send it back, right? But when you're
Mhm.
dealing with these high of stakes, somebody not being like going from good to great can mean tens of thousands of dollars in a transaction that you never know you either missed out on or completely lost.
Mhm.
And so it's important that we recognize that real estate agents play such a critical role because of the magnitude of that investment, and that having a firm that simply subscribes to a lead feed from the internet and has a great marketing budget does not mean that you are in the best of hands when it comes to having a fiduciary who's really helping to maintain and grow your wealth in real estate. And
Right.
so where we stand is we are looking to empower the real estate agent by surrounding them with other professionals who think similarly, to
Mhm.
where because they all share a similar client, they can spend, again, less time hustling to get the client and more time serving the client, not just individually, but collaboratively as a wealth advisory team in some cases, other times just in passing referrals to one another. And
Mhm.
we've actually created a component of our app that gives our professionals visibility onto the real estate assets held by their clients, to where you can truly act as an advisor, almost as if a financial advisor can look at the portfolio and be able to have a holistic view on how to solve the problems and more importantly achieve the goals of their
Mhm.
particular clients. That
Mhm.
hasn't been created in real estate until now, where we have the ability for people to be able to review their clients' real estate holdings in one simple interface, to be able to not just give advice as sometimes we're accused of absolutely now's a good time to sell, always a good time to sell, right? But really look at the
Right.
whole picture to say, based on your portfolio and based on what you've just told me about your goals, here's what I would recommend. Now I'm going to like, do you have a great tax professional, great estate attorney? If not, I'm happy to
Right.
introduce one. Let's
Right.
work collaboratively with that person, with that other professional, whether it be yours or one I bring to the table because yours isn't very strong, to really get you the property owner to your intended goal with a team of advisors who work well together.
Mhm. That's great. That's really, and I love the name of your company because it's exactly what your name is exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Like I wrote a children's book called Yo-Yo in a Tree, and the book is about a parrot in a tree.
Makes sense.
And I love how simple pro insight, getting insights from professionals, which is a
Yeah.
very, very cool thing. So I love the respect that you give to our profession based on what you're talking about here. And I feel like, um, I feel like it's a really wonderful tool that I'm hoping really catches on, because I want you to be completely successful in this.
Thank you.
Anything that promotes a healthy, holistic view of real estate and what it is we do. I mean, one of the problems we have in our culture and in our society right now is because of the immediacy of media and the immediacy of, you go on social media, you are looking at your feed, you buy a pair of socks right there in the middle of the feed and keep scrolling. I feel like there is a mentality around purchases of all kinds that is very different than when I was a child, say. People want immediate gratification. They don't realize how complicated a house sale is, and therefore don't understand why it takes 30, 45 days sometimes to get one done. Whereas if some company comes along that promises if you push a button you're going to have a house the next day, like how Carvana was selling cars. But the reality is, as you say, a house transaction is way more complicated than that, and you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, not $30.
Stakes
And
high.
I feel like we're in a time when that sort of financial education for people growing up, oh, there you're even bigger. That kind of financial education for people growing up has been missed, and because of that, I think that there is this misunderstanding of how all of it works, frankly.
I agree completely with you, is that we've done ourselves a disservice by not educating people on how important real estate is in the growth of wealth. And so people have treated it fairly frivolly. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Frivolously.
Frivolous, yeah. To where if they knew how much could be gained with real estate, they'd be much more selective in the professionals that they surround themselves with, right? That's part of the.
But people don't know what they don't know. That's the other thing. It's like there isn't a guide someplace that says, and pardon me, you're a millennial, but I'm going to say it. Hey,
I'm
Mr.
not actually.
Millennial.
I'm 1 year outside that, but go ahead. I look like one. Thank you. Thank you.
There you do. Mr. Millennial, you need to understand the level of complexity that you're dealing with. And these are some of the questions you should be asking of your professional. Yeah. These are some of the questions you should be asking before you invest your money in cryptocurrency. These are some of the questions you should be asking before you take a mortgage with this one company for a 40-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. These are some of the questions. Nobody has consolidated that any place. Is there anywhere on your site or in your platform where you do have proper questions for people to ask?
We really empower the professionals. So every week our members take part in a mastermind, and we educate the professionals on how to work as holistic professionals, how to work collaboratively, and teaching not just the real estate agent, but all the professionals around them that have been fed, so to speak, by the real estate agent, how to be really consultative professionals and really not just be there to close a sale, because that's how many operate, but to really find out what's the life event that's causing this particular work to be done and what other professionals might be needed, so that they can really identify who else should be at that table, who else should be in conversation with them, and to make a recommendation when appropriate. And so our education is in teaching the professionals how to be consultative and how to extract what's missing from those consumers so that they can properly guide them to whether it be knowledge that they have already, the professional, or would come from another professional. So really we exist to empower the professionals. That's great. And when you are focusing on all these professionals, the tax professionals, the accountants, the financial advisors, along with the realtors, would you say that you also are as focused on those other services as you are on the realtors themselves, or is this primarily a tool for realtors? Yeah, I mean, at this point, our network, because we start with a real estate agent who then chooses a lender, and then we offer them the ability to bring in the other professionals behind them. We have more real estate agents than other professionals, just kind of by nature of we start with them. But in time, they'll be outnumbered, right? And so essentially, we've broken the country up into 3,000 territories. So there'll be one real estate agent per territory.
That was my next question.
And one lender per territory. And there'll be roughly 48 other professionals, all who serve property owners. At this point, we have a total of 38, but we'll get up to the point where we have 50 total. We'll cap it at that. So yeah, it'll be there'll be more other professionals than just real estate agents, but all taught to support the property owner and identify opportunities for the next professional when it's in the best interest of the client.
Well, I think this is a really wonderful product. And Justin, you're very inspirational in what you're doing. I really appreciate the intelligence with which you're approaching what you're doing. And I'm also really appreciative that you thought to be here on this podcast.
Pleasure.
It's a good platform for this sort of thing. Where can my listeners who are realtors contact you if they want to contact you?
Yeah, please. So my email is justin@proinsight, and it's singular insight.com. You can go to our website, proinsight.com, and learn a little bit more. And happy to answer any questions you have. And again, we're looking for the right fit. Again, we need one top real estate agent in each of our territories. So we are pretty selective. But once we find the right person, we invest heavily, as I mentioned, these kind of mailing campaigns that go out. We do anywhere from 60 to 600 mailings at no additional cost, simply because when we do so, it helps us to find the other professionals in the other markets, right? So it's a win-win. It secures a referral partner for you, and it pays for itself in the sense that is how we acquire the next one. So if we find the right people, we invest heavily in them. And so that's who we're looking for. So, and for those that are just getting started and don't have that, we have some additional tools to help you. Like I mentioned, that deep dive product, which gives you visibility to your client's portfolio. We're actually just rolling that out to the professionals as well. So,
and is your book also still available?
It is. Yeah. You can find it on Amazon, Audible, or if you want to go to upstreammodel.com/book.
Okay.
You can get a copy there, and I'll sign those ones for you. So
anyway. Most excellent. Well, thank you for your time today. I'm really appreciative. What a wonderful product, and what a wonderful young man you are. Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. I wish more agents were doing this. We would be in a very different situation as an industry if the consumer really knew and were educated by somebody like you. So such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take good care.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Realizations Podcast. I hope our conversation has shed light on the true essence of real estate and the people behind it. As we wrap up, I want to extend my gratitude to our listeners for their support and engagement. Your feedback drives the heart of this podcast, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to the Realizations Podcast and leaving a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and spread our message of positivity in the real estate industry. Until next time, remember to keep an open mind, embrace empathy, and always seek the good in every situation. I'm Andrea Gordon, signing off from Realizations. See you next time.